Hi there. My name is Daniel James Drake, and I'm a professional pancake artist with the company Dancakes. I've been doing professional pancake art for probably 6, almost 7 years now, but that whole time I've had a little bit of a dream that I would one day be able to make a follow-along instructional show in the spirit of Bob Ross's The Joy of Painting. And we're finally at a point where we can make that happen. So I'm very, very pleased to announce that this is the very first episode of The Joy of Pancakes. So in The Joy of Pancakes, I'm going to be walking through individual pancake art designs and showing you how I make them and how you can do them on your own at home. Something that's really important to me is that you feel like you can do this. There's a lot of happiness and flow that can be found here in the medium of pancake art, and that's what I want to share with you. I'm hoping that I can show you how to make the kind of art that I make and impress yourself. Pancake art isn't about being perfect. It isn't about being the best artist in the world. It's about having fun. And I want you to rest easy knowing that every pancake that you make at home will taste just as good as one that I make here in the studio. Now, in this very first episode of The Joy of Pancakes, I felt like paying homage to the man who inspired it. Bob Ross is a legendary painter and teacher who hosted The Joy of Painting for almost 30 seasons. And he's been an inspiration and a source of peace and calm for a lot of people. What I really love about what Bob Ross did is that he taught everyone that you can be an artist too. That you don't have to be classically trained, you don't have to have the best tools in the world. With just some simple stuff and some confidence, you can make beautiful things happen in your own life. So it feels right to me that this first episode, I should make a landscape. Happy little trees, we can call it. Happy little pancakes. Now, when I get started doing pancake art with my pancake griddle, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on to the cook setting for just about 30 seconds or so. What this is going to do is it's going to allow the surface of the griddle to warm up, but it won't get too hot. I like that because as I start adding lines to the griddle, if there's a little bit of residual heat, they'll set faster and they won't bleed or smear, and I'll have a little bit more control over my line work. Once I feel like the surface is warm enough, just almost warm enough to burn me, but not quite, I'm going to turn the griddle back off. I have a towel here. I'm going to set it here and I'm going to rest my hand so that I don't burn the side of my hand from keeping it on that warm surface. We're going to list the colors I'm using as well as the drops of icing gel that each requires. They're on the bottom of the screen, just like Bob Ross did. So if you want to follow along exactly as I am, you can grab those. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab my black pancake batter. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of air out of the tip. I always squeeze air out of the tips of my batter pens. That creates suction and gives me more control over the lines. And then I'm going to start. So we're going to start. There was one that I saw Bob Ross do that I can sort of emulate. Kind of a tree silhouette. So we're just going to do a nice jagged line to about there. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's nothing particularly important about it being any certain way. Just a little jagged. Do it again. Give it a wide base. Do the same thing over on this side. And maybe make it taper towards the other line there at the top. Yeah. I'm going to cut it off right there, and we're going to pretend that that's the top of our canvas. And this will be the bottom of our canvas. We're just going some branches. Some squiggly lines, jagged. Just add some little branches there, add some little things to jut off. Nothing has to be perfect here. We're just having fun. And what you'll find, especially with doing little lines like this, is that the more you practice, the easier it gets to do those lines with these little bottles. One of the ways I like to think about pancake art designs is that when I use my black batter, it's a bit like I'm making myself a coloring book. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make these outlines, and then later on I'll find all these pretty colors I've mixed up, and I'll color those outlines in certain ways. What do I want to add next? I think I might add a couple bushes here. Little lumpy bushes. Just some lumpy lines here. Just kind of go back and forth. Doesn't have to be perfect. I feel like I'm channeling the man. I think I'll develop a little bit more of my own voice as I go on. We're just gonna add some lumpy lines here, some bushes. Yeah. Extend this line here as our canvas. Yeah. That's nice. Okay. So we got this big tree here. I imagine the tree could use a friend, right? Every one of Bob Ross's trees had friends. So let's give this tree a friend. Maybe there's one growing up just like this. It's okay to go over those other lines. Add some branches here. I might not color those in quite the same. I like that. Yeah, let's give that canvas a line there so we know where to stop. So we know where to stop drawing. Can't make your pancakes too big, or else you'll get into trouble. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and bring this line down here. It's kind of like a little photograph. Just do our best. See, those lines aren't perfectly straight for me. I go back and forth and they're a little wiggly. That's fine. I'm gonna give it a little brook, a little stream. Let's see, how are we gonna do that? Streams are kind of interesting. There's a trick to them. Do an outline here. Maybe double it back like that. Streams, they flow to and fro, and they go around things. And when you're looking at a stream head on, you'll find that it's actually got a lot of side to side lines more than it has straight up and down. So you'll see me do a nice line like this. Yeah, okay. That's fine. It's pretty. You can almost hear it babbling. And we'll have it disappear behind a little rock over here. Yeah, why not? Right? Why not? Maybe we can have some more bushes over on this bank. It's okay to go over the lines you already made. One thing I've found is that a lot of times, if your pancakes look a little sketchy, it's kind of cool. Makes them look a little bit more like a drawing and less like food, you know? I'm keeping the tip of my bottle. If you see me dipping over here, it's because I'm keeping the tip of my bottle wiped clean. I've got a towel on my hip. I always keep a towel tucked into my pocket. That way I can wipe the tips of my bottles clean so that they don't get batter clumped up on them. In my head, the way I drew these trees so sparse. Let me give this one a couple more branches. Why not? But in my head, this is going to be kind of a snowy scene. So we'll get some snowy hills over here. A couple rocks here and there, you know. Nature's interesting. Nature's fun to draw because it's a little chaotic, you know. It's not that ordered. It's all over the place, and so you can actually do some pretty compelling stuff, even if your art's a little all over the place. Big old hill. That's a big hill. And maybe one other hill coming up over here. I like this. Add some far away trees. Just little bitty lines here. Nice little bramble over here. You make them small to show they're off in the distance. I'm not really sure how I want to light this scene. We'll figure it out as we go, you know. I'm no Bob Ross. All these lines here now. Really pretty scene we've got coming together here. I think I might be able to. Yeah, I think I can set this down for now. I want to do a sunset over this snowy scene. So let's see if I can. Let's see if I can pull that off. Now, one thing I like to make sure to tell everybody is I'm not going for perfection. I'm going to pick a lot of colors that might not make perfect sense. It doesn't really matter, though. It's pancake. We're going to eat this. That's why we like to say mistakes are delicious. So, I've actually got, this is a white pancake batter. It looks very similar to plain pancake batter, but we've put a little bit of white icing gel in this, which cooks a lot differently than the plain batter. So this is good for picking out details and highlights and things like that. I think I'm going to outline the horizon and the trees on it over here. Maybe the sun is already below those hills. So instead of actually drawing the sun, what I might do, or maybe, you know what, maybe, let me see here. Here's what I'll do. We're going to have, that'll be the sun. We're just going to color in some, just going to imply the shape of this sun over here. We can actually go right over that. One of the things that you'll learn as you get better at pancake art is that it's all about layering. So if I draw over batter I've already put down, if I draw over those black lines are still going to show up on top when I flip it over. So we can play around with that a little bit. Yeah, here we go. But I don't want to fill in these yet because those big old trees, I still got plans for those. So I'll go ahead and try to. What I'm going to try and do is create this slightly imperfect horizon of reds going into purples, going into indigos, and then maybe going into grays and blacks. And then I'll use a lot of these colors again when I color in those slopes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You see how those hues just kind of lean into one another. With just that purple there, we can go from red to blue, and it almost looks like it makes sense, right? I've got this gray here, which is almost like a darker blue. It's not perfect, but I want to have something that can transition from that blue into black, like Twilight's Fallen. Yeah, I'll take this black and we'll color in the rest up there. We'll see how that looks. May not be perfect, but that's okay. Well, we've got our skyline there. Some of my dark brown. Trace along the line there, right at the edge, just to give it a little bit of contrast between it and its friend. And I think I might grab my indigo here. I'll do a couple of lines to sort of imply the texture of the bark. It's very pop art what we're doing here, very impressionistic. You know what? What I'm doing right here is, once you get really good at squeeze control, it gets easier to do stuff like this, where you're putting very little gaps between the lines, but when you do that, you create a very sort of satisfying textured look. You manage to get lots of little lines that don't touch each other. It's like spirit tree. Kind of want to hit some of these branches over here, just so it doesn't seem like they're completely different from the thing. Kind of want to make this tree's buddy a little bit different character. Let's use our green. We haven't used our green yet. Let's use that. Come over here. Just all these little lines. No real rhyme or reason, just kind of pretending like we're outlining little pieces of bark on it. Just having fun with it, you know? Living it up. Letting the batter pour where it may. Interesting. Okay. So now I'll come back through. I'm going to start filling in the rest of that bark. All those places on these trees that I didn't color just yet. I'm going to grab my white batter and I'm going to do a very similar thing to what I did on those trees. I'm just going to kind of trace the flow of this creek, this brook. I'm going to give it these lines to just sort of imply what it is. Say, here we go. You can do this however you want to. It's all the way up over there. So then I want to take I'm going to take my black. I'm actually going to do some darker lines in there too. Same way. I'm not going to fill it in. I'm just going to do some texture lines. My indigo, and then last I'll fill it all in with my light blue. So I'll do some indigo, darker parts here. Yeah, let's go and do some long lines there with the indigo. There we go. And then the rest of it we'll fill in with this blue. It's not really the color of water, but it's also not important. It's also kind of exciting because if I try new things, I don't know how it's going to look until I flip it over. All right, let's take this white batter one more time. Let's highlight the edges of these hills. Maybe give them a little texture. Maybe give them a little... I don't really know how this is going to look, but one thing I've learned is that if you highlight things and if you got good contrast, it looks interesting enough to be pretty. I mean, I'll be honest, I already like the way this is starting to look. It's very interesting. I'm going to grab my gray here. I'm going to get some shading going. Shade up and around that brook there. Just kind of try to find places where maybe the hills are less visible underneath all that. Got some rocks down here. Give them some shading. Sure, yeah. I think I wanted these to be rocks too. Shade those. Why not? We're here. We may as well. Alright. I'm going to do a little bit of indigo on the bottom of the bushes. May not be the perfect color to pick, but it'll be a bit of a interesting, cool color to play off of the green that I'm going to color them in with. Use a little bit of yellow. I like adding, if I'm going to color something in green, sometimes I like to add a little yellow to the highlight. It gives a little bit more body, a little bit more character. Sure, why not? Why not? This is going to be a very colorful scene. Now, let's see here. I've got this plain batter. I think I might use that for sides of these rocks. Yeah. I've also got a lighter brown, a tan. I think I'm going to do the riverbank with that. Just kind of outline the riverbank. Little brook. Say, whoop. What is that, sand? Got sand out there? What's going on? We're almost to the point where I can fill in the rest of it. Nice little color. What color am I going to fill the rest of this in with? I'll tell you what color I'm going to use. I'm going to use purple. Because I don't want my hills to be the same color as my brook. So I'm going to use purple to kind of give them a little bit of contrast. Miss any spots? I got a couple spots here and there that I want to fill in. There we go. There we go. Just like that. All right. We got a photograph of a very colorful, strange landscape. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cap off my fill bottle here. I'm going to give a border to this whole pancake. And then I'm going to put a little pancake batter across the back of it, just to make it a little bit stronger, a little bit thicker. Here we go. Just whoop, just like that. Very good. Go ahead and cross the back. Beautiful. Put that cap back on. Now, while that cooks, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope that you found it relaxing, informative. I hope that it's something you feel like you can share with your friends and family. And I hope you'll give pancake art a try sometime. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy our content and what we do at Dancakes, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave us a comment, like the video, subscribe. If you have any suggestions about what you want to see me draw on a future Joy of Pancakes, I'm all ears. Now we can see this pancake is starting to cook because all those bubbles are showing up on the back. So the heat of the griddle actually makes the water evaporate. And as the water evaporates, it turns into a gas, turns into bubbles, pops. Steam comes out. What I want to see is I want to see bubbles across the whole back of the pancake. I'm going to do what's called carving. We're going to carve this pancake right off the griddle. Once that pancake's carved, it'll slide around just like that. And that means I can flip it. So here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3. I like that a lot. Wow. Yeah. And that's the joy of pancakes. Let me go grab a plate. Always remember to turn your griddle off when it's done cooking. That way it gets cooler if you want to draw another pancake. And that way you don't accidentally burn yourself or somebody else. So, here we go. Thanks for watching the Joy of Pancakes show. Like I said, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you next week with another Joy of Pancakes. Till then, remember, mistakes are delicious.